Why
Hmm?
are they?
Why did atmosphere why did atmosphere was made?
Okay,
What was
so
the question? Sorry.
why was the atmosphere made?
Okay. I'll take 3 last questions if anyone has. Yeah, Avantika. Okay, so, yeah, Avantika will go in and then Satya can pass on the mic to whoever has a question there. Yeah, Avantika.
Okay. So you also said after coming up with the the comets burn in the atmosphere answer, you also looked at some other examples. Did those examples prove it? And you use a few other terms, right? Plasma and all. Were those examples fitting with that?
Okay.
Yeah, whoever has a question there, go ahead.
So do you have the question?
What?
The question.
Oh, I should repeat it.
Yes.
Is the atmosphere really there to protect us, or is this just a possibility, 1 in a million possibility that happens to be there to protect us?
Okay.
couldn't
Yeah,
exist.
okay. We'll stop this round here now. Who has the next presentation? Who wants to present your idea next? I want a very weird idea which will get us a lot of questions. Who has the weirdest idea today?
He has the weirdest question he's been asking.
Not question, but next presentation. Pavni, whoever is the next presentation. Weirdest idea which will get us a lot of questions.
Come on.
Anybody
Go
can go.
next. Okay, come on.
Whoever goes first, that'll be the second researcher now. Come on, quickly, come. Who wants to be the second researcher now?
Chalo,
Mridhu
Mridhubhashini, come in.
Come
Mridhubhashini,
in.
No issues.
Hello everyone, my name is Ritu Bashne and I'm currently studying in grade 7.
Take a long
Okay, everyone do for her.
So my mom actually asked me this question: why are most swimming pools tiled with blue? I came up with this theory that swimming pools are tiled with blue to imitate the color of water in paintings, as we are taught from young age that water is blue.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
could you,
anyone has the question?
1 minute. So, Mridhubhashini, could you walk us through your journey while you were building this with people? What were the nice experiences while you were building this with people? Prabir will listen to her journey and then take questions. Yeah.
One question Satya asked was, wait, what was that question again? Satya, any ideas what you asked me that day? Okay, tell me please, I forgot.
So the question I asked her was, why didn't we color the tiles in an opaque color? And why didn't we color the water? And why didn't we change our mindset that water is blue, even though we know it's transparent?
Well, the answer to painting water is it could irritate the skin and it could also stain the skin. It would literally harm us. So that is not a good idea. And painting the swimming pool tiles black, red, or any other color may just make young kids freak out because they are taught that water is blue, and if they see it in any other color, well, they may get spooked.
And what is the most weird question somebody asked you?
The weirdest question was, why can't we paint the water?
Okay. Yeah, Prabir, go ahead with the question.
Why are children taught that this water is blue from the start?
They are taught that water is blue from a young age because our ancestors saw the sea water as blue, and we still continue to see the sea water as blue till this day.
Prabir, let's pass on the mic,
It
please.
has no color, right?
Yes, it's true that water has no color, but seawater looks blue because it reflects the sky.
Nice type.
Okay, here goes my weird theory. Sky is blue because Neptune is blue.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Neptune is blue, but how is it related to Earth? We are living on Earth.
Then even okay, the answer to that question is our eyes are able to process the color of Neptune, but it is a very tiny speck. Our brain enlarges it a trillion times to make it look like the sky is blue.
Why is Neptune blue?
Because that is the natural color of Neptune.
Why is that the natural color of Neptune?
Neptune is blue because the universe was made from blue.
Question.
Why was the universe
Universe
made
is,
from blue?
Question. But we've seen skies in other colors, right? There's pink skies, we've seen gray skies. How come that doesn't confuse us and we still draw blue skies? Wouldn't
Okay,
it?
I hope this was fun. We will move to the next weird presentation, and after this, I'm sure all of us will have much more fun. Who wants to go next? Who has a weird answer to present to us?
Who wants to go next, guys? Sigh. Sigh. Take the mic.
Hello, my name is Sai Prabir and I'm in 7th grade. I study in Manson School. So yesterday I did the session with Aryan. So my question was, why are books printed from left to right? So why are the pages from left to right? So it was a process. So first I came up with a simple theory. As the like Aryan and Palas sir continued to ask questions, the theory became more complex and more concrete until we had a defined theory about why they are printed from left to right. So it started from because we read from left to right, and the English language which we usually read in is written from left to right.
Please hold your mic closer.
So that was the first part. So then they asked, why is it written from left to right? Sorry, why is it printed from left to right? So my answer was, it is printed from left to right because our ancestors might have written books so, because most of the people were right-handed. So it was easier for them to turn pages like that. So then the next question came, why was the writing actually from left to right? So then my next answer was that the writing is from left to right because the style of writing, like if you see the letter B, it goes from left to right. So the ending is at the right. So that's why the writing is from left to right. So maybe that's why it was written from left to right, which is why the pages are printed from left to right. So then the question came, why is it written from left to right? Again, the answer was because people were mainly right-handed, and the left-handed people had to also adapt to that. So the final part was that since the people before who wrote the Roman language and came up with the language of English, since they were mainly right-handed people, they wrote from left to right because it was easier for them, and the language was written from left to right, and hence the books were the writing was from left to right. This is why books were also printed from left to right. So page 1 is here, page 2 is here. It was printed like that so that the right-handed people also could turn the pages easily.
Yeah, questions.
Leonardo da Vinci, even though he was a left-handed person, he started writing it in mirrored. So his books would be printed from right to left, wouldn't they?
Yeah, so people started printing it from left to right. That doesn't make it like the only way you can print the books. It's just the easier and the more advisable way to print books for people to read.
Then in some countries, why do we write from right to left?
That was Avantika's question too, in a way.
because that's the form of writing. Even if it's written from right to left, they are still right-handed people, so they can still turn the page like this.
No, but if you said left to right is convenient, why are these people going right to left?
They would have
Because
chosen.
that's the form of writing.
Why?
Because that's what they thought was fit.
Why?
Because their minds were different.
Why?
Because God
That-
created them like that.
But why only these people in one particular part of the world?
And a very
Because they wanted to do something different, maybe.
Why only these people?
Because they were weird.
Why only these people are weird?
God created them like that.
Why did God come into this?
I have no clue.
Okay, relax. Yeah, other question. Somebody else had a question.
For left-handed people, why don't we print books from right to left then?
Because it's easier to print books from left to right. So if you start printing books from right to left, like people will have to create another organization, and people are just too lazy to do that. So that's why,
Why did we become lazy to do that? Why don't we respect that a few people are left-handed and print it in a way that's easier for them?
Firstly, left-handed people were looked down before, so we don't really care about them, any right-handed people. That is one thing. The other thing is we are very lazy because the Thomas Alva Edison and all the people who created TV, Steve Jobs, all these people who created all these inventions to make our life easier made us also very lazy.
Okay, let's stop this here. But trust me, these are very important questions as far as user psychology is concerned. Because when we make these mobile apps, right? Like you guys must be using Swiggy, Uber, some of these apps. When designers make those apps, they try to understand the psychology of the users while making it. So that is why you see that, I think in some places logo is kept on the left because your eye moves from left to right. Important information is kept on the left because your eye starts on the left. So these are all very interesting perspectives which you all are speculating on. So now I have a different question for all of you. I'll give you guys 2 minutes. You can pick a buddy there. All of you can pick a buddy, whomever you like over there. So the ones who are here on Zoom, you can go into a breakout room with a buddy. Yeah.
There are 3 people.
We have 3, so all 3 can go together here on Zoom. How many of you are over there? Shreyas, Ishita, Mridubhashini, Prabir, and Satya, right? 5, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have Sujit as well, so that makes it 6.
6. Yeah.
So all of you can pick up a buddy right now, whomever you like, whosever ideas you like. You can pick a buddy. Okay. And what I want you and your buddy to discuss is, how will you apply the same method on your textbook? You were trying to answer some questions and come up with weird answers, right? How do you try this on your textbook, especially that subject which you hate the most? Whichever subject you hate the most, how would you try this method? Discuss for about 2 minutes and then you'll get the mic. Discuss for 2 minutes and you'll get the mic. So Avantika, Afifa, Aryan, you can move to a breakout room and discuss. Yeah.
I cannot see the breakout room option.
Okay. So Pavni could help them, move with buddies, and they have 2 minutes to discuss, and then one of the 2 buddies will come and present.
Sure, Tarun. Tarun, could you repeat what we should do since they're confused once? So if you can.
Yeah. So they will apply the same. They'll plan key in this week. How will they pick the subject they hate the most? Let us say they don't like Hindi. So while studying Hindi, how would Hindi or civics or whatever subject, right, which you don't like, how will you apply this method on that subject to make the subject interesting, to come up with weird answers, theories and all of that. So they get 2 minutes to discuss with their buddy, and both of them can present after 2 minutes.
Sure. Everybody understood, right? Yeah. Okay.
Pavni, you can rearrange them so they can sit closer to their buddy.
Yes. Okay. So Satya and
Afifa, you'll now be able to move to breakouts.
But I'm not able to move.
You
Arun, I think it's a Zoom glitch.
wait again, it's closing.
Yeah, it's a Zoom glitch. You will have to wait for a minute. Yes, Afifa, Aryan, you can now move to the breakout rooms. Avantika.
Wangi, you can go help them.
Yeah.
Satvika, can you hear us? So in between, you can go around taking the mic, asking them to give us a teaser of what they're discussing. Take the mic, let them give us a teaser of what they're discussing, one after the other.
So done with the discussion?
No. Let them continue discussing. One by one, you can just give us a teaser of what they're discussing.
Speak.
Would you want to give us a teaser of what ideas you've come up with so far? Yeah.
You guys can lip.
Yeah, but that's they could get distracted really easy, right?
Yes, switch off the cable connection.
That could make them throw a tantrum.
Okay, so there's something about distraction coming up. Fine.
Okay, so we can conduct dialogues and we can do the same process that we did right now. So suppose in your textbook, you read a paragraph or some Hindi story. So to understand it, you can
Break it down into questions.
Yeah, you can come up with like what you understood the base, and then you could the other person could ask you questions on it.
Wait, what about the 5Y technique? We can use 5Y techniques for understanding the paragraphs, right?
We can, but
Vidhumashini, looks like you enjoyed the 5Ys technique, right? Especially when it was used against Prabir.
Yes.
And why did you enjoy it? You're being a little sadistic there.
It actually just explains things in a fun way.
Okay, and why is it fun?
Because like you get the feeling that you're finding it out on your own, and
Why do you get the feeling that you're finding it out on your own?
because you're actually finding it out on your own.
Why are you finding it out on your own?
To get information for yourself.
Why are you getting information for yourself?
To understand that.
Why are you understanding that?
So that I can answer the question or something.
Why do you want to answer the question or something?
Because it's a Hindi topic.
If it's a Hindi topic, why do you want to find the answer?
Sir, I didn't catch that last question.
I said if it's a Hindi topic, why do you want to find the answer?
I really can't hear him now.
Okay. Wait, I said
You can't hear him, is it?
I get it now. Okay, let me be louder. If it's a Hindi topic, why would you want to find the answer?
Because I need to prepare for the exam, let's just say.
So for the exam, why do you have to find the answer?
I really can't hear him.
Okay, I thought you liked the 5 Ys technique. You do?
I do.
Mridubhashini, it's okay to say I don't know. When you use the 5 eyes technique, it's okay to say I don't know. It's fun, but when we don't know, it's okay to say I don't know. Well done. You took more than 5 eyes. You took like 8 or 9 eyes.
Yeah.
To ask maybe your grandparents or things, people like that to get primary data.
But what if you're from an illiterate society? You don't know anything. All you can do is read the books, right?
Yeah, but you can still ask your grandparents. They'll still have things to say.
What if it's about science? They don't know much about science, right?
Then you can ask some of the village elders.
It's from an illiterate society.
Okay, then you can ask the scientist of that region.
If you're in a village, where will you find a scientist?
Scientists can come from villages.
No, but they won't. They don't tend to stay in villages. Like at night.
Okay, then you walk to ISRO and check.
You walk.
Yeah, humans walk. So humans have to walk to find more things about history.
Sure.
Okay, last 50 seconds for discussion.
Assuming that they understand, why would they understand? We have it in the yes, what is if they don't understand, they can always ask.
But to make sure they know at least one small bit of it, this method would help.
How do you think this method will help?
Okay, time out, all of you. So now we'll give 30 seconds to everyone. Tell us what was your experience while you were doing this. Everyone, 30 seconds, okay? What was your experience while you were doing this, and what would you like to do more, this week?
My experience while doing this was, it actually felt good interacting with Satya, and it was actually fun trying to discuss about the subject we hate the most and how to make it a little more fun.
Okay, and what would you like to do this coming week?
So what are you gonna do in coming week?
In the coming week, I'm just going to implement the technique we just discussed to make learning Hindi a little easier.
So with whom are you going to have this discussion? With whom would you have this discussion? Do you have somebody in MyHomeJewel who loves Hindi, who reads a lot of Hindi literature, who loves the subject?
Well, I do have another friend in MyHomeJewel who loves Hindi.
Okay, any grandparents in MyHomeJewel who love Hindi?
Yes, my grandmother was a Hindi teacher.
So would you want to have this sort of a conversation with her?
Yes, actually, it would help.
And we would love to hear next Sunday what happens then, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I hope you have a nice story to tell us about your conversation with her.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mridubhashini. Who's going next?
Okay.
The experience was interesting and insightful, I guess, I would say, since now I know what to do on how to learn Hindi. And there are a few methods that we came up with, like Toyota 5Y, and we're also trying to implement things like design thinking in Hindi so that we can understand it easily.
Thanks, Satya. So these are the things you'll try this week, is it?
Yes.
So next Sunday, we look forward to a small video from you on how you use design thinking in Hindi.
All right.
Challenge accepted. Yeah. Who's going next?
He has very interesting topics.
Says, could you please hold your mic closer?
Yeah, he has very interesting topics to say, and very ideas. Yeah, it's very fun. Interesting.
What would you want to do this week, Shreyas?
What?
Would you want to try some of these things this week with some of the subjects you're studying?
I didn't get you.
Pavni, would you want to?
How do you want to implement this? What do you want to do with these ideas in this week? You got a lot of ideas from Prabir, right?
Yeah.
Would you want to implement those?
Yeah.
Why do you want to implement, and how do you want to implement?
I could use his way of thinking to you on my.
What is his way of thinking? What did you observe in him?
He thinks out of the box, like not the normal stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shreyas.
Hello. I had. Your name is?
Shreyas.
I had fun working with Shreyas for 5 minutes.
Prabir, could you hold your mic closer?
I had fun working with Shreyas for 5 minutes. He was good. He asked a lot of questions, which I tried to answer. I don't know if they were the best answers. Those were the ones I could come up with. So he told history was his least favorite. Mine was science. So we clubbed it together and we thought of science. Sorry, Mritu. So we thought science. So we came up with the way of maybe parents. This could be applied to every subject. So parents could try to come up with a way they can help their children to study. So firstly, they can allow them to maybe watch TV for 30 minutes. Then they can persuade them to come study for 15 minutes. They can take a break and play soccer for 30 minutes. Then they can again come and play for 15 minutes. Like that through parts and parts, maybe 15, 15, 15, 15. For about 1 hour, they've studied in 3 hours. So 1 hour out of 3 hours, if they study, it might be beneficial. So 2 out of 6 hours maybe. So in a day, they can do things like this. And that way parents can persuade them and also make them study. So that was one way. And the other way was that the government maybe should provide a better way of trying to do all these things for NCERT books and other books. They should try to provide fun fact sections and other things.
So Prabir, what if your sports and your TV were also connected to the topic you studied?
So that was only the part of the persuasion, sir. Sir, if it's needed, then they might have to take extreme measures sometimes to teach.
No, I'm saying if you're studying science, what if you could watch a movie around the topic in science and then have a discussion on that movie?
Yeah, that could also be beneficial. So if you give more exposure to the child based on the topic, so first you may persuade them and make them do the thing, and then maybe you can putting the subject they are not that great into the things they like. So suppose they like movies and cartoons, you can give movies and cartoons that are related to the topic of science. So series like maybe Star Wars, maybe children like that, but that has some parts of science. So maybe that could help also.
Sure, Prabir. Thank you, Prabir. Who's going next?
Was bad? Terrible, right? No.
So we were discussing about she doesn't like social. So I asked her why she doesn't like it. She told because there's too much to remember. But I find social interesting because of the mostly history. Mostly history. So basically, it's like stories. So I think it's more of a personal choice. So
So did you get any idea how to implement?
maybe it's because of the teachers. I don't know. She doesn't find it interesting.
Okay, so did you both discuss? You should like to tell your experience or any idea.
I find social I find social hacks. So I just I'll always try to make it easier.
How you gonna make it easier?
I'll study social. I like history mostly.
You like history?
Yeah, geography and all those I don't.
You don't like geography. You told you like reading stories, right?
Yeah.
So would you like to watch something, some videos around, social and stories and understand or something?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, then tell it out.
I watch stories on social. No, like enough.
Anything else how do you want to implement this in this week? How do you want to do it?
I mostly prefer stories in understanding something.
Stories in understanding something. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Afifa, Aryan, Avantika, would you guys want to go?
Okay, so first things first, we did not choose a subject. We chose a process because we couldn't come to agreement on the subject. So basically we're going to use a process for all the subjects that we study, that we hate. So it's a process, of course. So the first step is something called Refinement Technique, which is basically bringing it down to the absolute fundamentals. Okay, so whatever language, whatever subject it is, it'll have some fundamentals. So after we bring it to that, let's say it's a language, let's say it's Marathi, then there'll be some exception words, right, that don't really fit into the first principles. So the second step is to find out those exceptions and to sort of categorize them. The third step is to fit them in this kind of model. By model, I mean it's like a process where that must happen in every single thing, or that can be visualized for every single thing that happens in this subject.
Thank you, Avantika. Aryan or Afifa, you have something to say? Pavni, are we audible?
Yes. He wants to ask a question,
Yeah.
it seems.
Please.
So for suppose you want a language, so to bring it down to the absolute fundamentals, people could use apps like Duolingo and all. So they could basically just use XP and get points, and it would be very exciting to learn, right?
You can't learn computer and GK in Duolingo.
What?
My most the subject I don't like is GK and computer.
No, but
And
Afifa, he's talking of languages. He says
Yeah,
for
but for
languages,
that,
you can use Duolingo.
yeah, for languages such as that, you can use Duolingo. And anyway, there are many other sites that have many other apps like suppose BuzzFeed and all. They have different quizzes on different topics. So you could easily use them and win competitions,
Okay,
win cash prizes.
Prabir, one clarification here. I hope I'm audible to all the students. See, there's a difference between fundamentals and trivia.
So yes, sir. So some of these apps have the fundamentals. So instead of like learning from the parents itself, they could use these apps, right?
No, but what Duolingo does is it gives you practice of the usage. But
Yes.
what Avantika was talking of is you try to simplify the concept in such a way that even a 5-year-old child can understand.
Yeah. So apps such as Duolingo, they use like they also have fundamentals. So if you click below
Can you give
a
an
word,
example?
so suppose you're using Duolingo and you're learning French, they will start from the absolute basics like basics 1 and all, and they'll continue from there. They have the
So-
advantage that if you click below the word, they give you the meaning of that certain word in English and they give it in a very simple way.
Correct. So, Prabir, while that is very useful to start with the basic words, along with that, one very important thing to do is to see the concepts in languages. Concepts, as in, let me give an example. If you look at English, in English you have present tense, past tense, and future tense. There are some languages you have, your present and past are not separate. You only have two tenses.
Yeah.
So, in Russian, there are 15 tenses. So, there are different concepts in different languages. So, if you can understand the concept, okay, let me give you a much simpler example. Now, in English, does your verb have a gender?
No.
She eats, he eats.
But French does, for example.
Okay, what is your mother tongue, Pravi?
Bengali.
Bengali. Okay, how many Telugu speakers here? Okay, Hindi speakers?
Hindi?
You speak Hindi, right? Now, use the verb karta. Like काम करता है or something like that. Use Sita and use Ram. How do your sentence look with Sita and how your sentence look with Ram?
Sita will be katti hai and Ram will be katta hai.
Right? In Telugu also. Okay, anyone wants to give us an example in Telugu?
Chestundi chestadu.
Right. Now, does this happen in English?
No.
So there are languages where you attach the gender details to a verb, and there are languages where you don't attach the gender detail to the verb. Now, whatever we discussed is a very interesting subject called comparative linguistics. It's fun because you compare different languages and you see, it's like how you compare phones and compare features, no?
Yes.
You can compare languages and compare features. It will be much more fun because you're analyzing the conceptual aspects of language.
Yeah.
Apart from Duolingo, what we can also do is compare the conceptual language. Okay, Prabir, what if I tell you that our former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao knew 17 languages?
What?
Former Prime Minister of India, former old Prime Minister of India, P.V. Narasimha Rao, he was Prime Minister in 1991 for India. He knew 17 languages, 17.
Okay.
He spoke 17 languages. Would you also want to develop the ability to learn a lot of languages quickly?
Yeah. I do learn lots of languages.
Awesome. So how many languages do you speak?
Currently, I speak English, Hindi, Bengali, and French. I am going to learn Spanish, then maybe Canadian French, then maybe other languages like Russian or maybe Greek and things
Then,
like that.
Prabir, I think you'll really love this subject called linguistics. Linguistics is a subject where you study about languages.
Yes. I know.
So we'll recommend one nice video you
So
can
my
watch.
favorite topics are linguistics and literature.
Nice. Thanks, Prabir. Yeah, Afifa or Aryan, you have something to add? Or what you did so far? What you plan to do this week? Okay, so before we all conclude, so Pavni, I think you can have a short conversation between the kids and conclude it after we go off Zoom. But before that, I wanted to announce something exciting for all of you here. Am I audible to all the kids there?
Yes.
Okay. So does this hybrid model sound fun where you can go meet friends and have conversations with friends?
Yeah, we do it in school also.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's kind of usual now. We do it in school also.
Right, but I'm saying to have very deep discussions.
Yes, it's fun.
Yeah. So now inside MyHomeJewel and in other gated communities across India as well, what we're planning is something called DT Valley. DT Valley is where like Silicon Valley, right? Where you can come, discuss big ideas without worrying too much about whether they'll be successful or not. Just discuss ideas. And you know, the people who build revolutionary technology, the people who build revolutionary technology to change the world, they don't do it because it's useful. They do it because it's fun. So every Sunday we catch up, you know, in different people's places. We meet different people, we catch up, and we have this fun discussions to experience the joy of learning. So this week, do you want to catch up with a lot more friends and, you know, spread this enthusiasm for learning?
Sure. It's very low energy.
Yes.
I can't hear.
Okay. So Pavni will end this live here. You can disconnect from Zoom and just, you know, let the kids sign off with this, you know, idea, so that next Sunday we can take off from where we stopped today, and we can have very nice discussions with all the students within the community.
Sure.
Are we senior members of DeepThought?
Sorry?
Are we senior members of DeepThought?
Yes, you are the leader. Great.
Bye, Pavni. Take care.
Thanks.
So